Good morning, friends. This video is meant for improving spoken English and written English skills. See, friends, there is no denying the fact that command on spoken and written English requires a regular practice, a lot of modulations, a lot of practicing skills. The three important foundational skills for mastering spoken and written English are listening for comprehension, and input speaking for verbal expression, fluency, and reading for vocabulary acquisition and structural understanding. Friends, listening is a very important skill of learning language. These core skills, listening, then listening for comprehension, then speaking, and then reading. These three core skills work together. They work in an integrated way. With the listening and reading acting as input, listening and reading work as an input, with the speaking and writing are output together, improving overall communication. The key skills emphasizes why listening is known as a receptive skill and why it is essential. Listening is a receptive skill. It is an essential core skill, essential for understanding spoken language. Whatever may be the language, if you don't listen enough of the spoken materials, you will not be able to understand and develop, comprehension. So children must be encouraged to listen to different reading material, either in the classroom by the teachers, by the educators, or in the assembly, or in debate and discussions. The more they will listen, the more fluent they will be, because then that receptive skill, listening, which is a receptive skill, it is essential for developing understanding for any spoken language, including intonation, enunciation, rhythm, and word stress. A regular and consistent listening to varied content. Not only, sometimes it is important that the children should be encouraged to listen to the cartoons, stories, being made in English. Sometimes the cartoons being made in English, uh, you know, it's good for small children. When they start listening regularly, the conversation in between the characters of the cartoon, they develop some sort of understanding, and they start copying, mimicking, and then they start speaking. So varied content helps develop a natural sense of language structure. Speaking, it is very important. Unless and until someone speaks, he or she cannot learn how to speak. Speaking is a very common practice for everyone who is interested in developing fluency in language. Unless and until you, that is why speaking is known as productive skill. Listening is receptive skill, but speaking is a productive skill. Why it is being called a productive skill? Because it involves expressing ideas verbally. You cannot really learn how to speak any language unless you speak. Make a practice of speaking it regularly, expressing ideas verbally. It requires command of vocabulary and grammar. Effective speaking also relies on proper enunciation, regular practice, such as initiating conversation in English, that is a key to developing fluency. If you are not initiating conversation, you are three or four of the friends sitting on a dining table or sitting in a hotel and taking tea or coffee. And if you are not initiating to speak in English, naturally your vocabulary will be less. You have to enhance your vocabulary by using new words every day. And it's very important to read English newspaper. Children now have forgotten, as with the advent of social media and internet, children had completely forgotten to read newspaper. So what happens, that in the internet there is a limited number of words and vocabulary that generally the internet uses, because when you are searching a particular content, you will have a specific vocabularies that will go on repeated. But when you read newspapers, English newspaper, you will get varied vocabularies content, and that will enhance your word power. And word power makes and plays an important role in effective speaking. It is also because when you pronounce a word, when you make an intonation and a stress in reading out the headlines of the newspaper, that really makes an understanding that you have developed fluency. Reading is also one of the receptive skills. So there are two receptive skills. One is listening, another is reading, and the productive skill is speaking. Crucial. See, reading is very crucial. Children now have stopped reading the textbooks. The reason is very clear, that they rely more on internet and social media rather than reading the text. That is the reason why they are lacking ideas. They don't have proper and enough ideas, sufficient ideas. When they are asked to write 600 words on any essay or content or any article, they are completely a failure. The reason is quite clear. They have lost the habit of reading text. So the parents and the educators must motivate them to read their text, particularly the language text in Hindi, Sanskrit, and in English. They have to read the text regularly. Once they are reading the text, they will be exposed to a variety of sentences, structure, and a variety of, so like, most of the sentences written in, in the form of, in the stories are in direct form. And when they are, translating the story, when they are writing the summary, they have to write in indirect form, I mean, indirect narration. So they learn different grammatical items, and that develops an understanding and also makes them aware of how to use these crucial skills in day-to-day spoken and written English. Another important fact about spoken and written English is that when you start the productive skill, when you start, a lot of, practice, when you are speaking, modulating your voice, making different enunciation at different stage. So there are two productive skills. One is speaking, another one is writing. A vital skill that reinforces all others by helping us structure our thoughts and apply grammar rules. Then vocabulary and grammar. It is very important to go for enriching vocabulary and grammar. Generally, what should the children do? When they are reading a text, if they get a new word, they should search synonyms of that word, 10 and 5 words, so that they will have enough way of expressing the same sentence. For instance, I'm just taking one example. Somebody says that this story is pretty good. The same thing can be said, this story is very good. This story is very interesting. This story is very catchy. See the word catching, interesting, absolutely pretty, absolutely, engaging. These words, engaging, interesting, attractive, all these are synonyms. So the more synonyms they will have, the more proficiency. Language proficiency requires not only the structure and tenses. For instance, if somebody is speaking 5 sentences in present perfect tense, he or she must know that in present perfect affirmative form, that subject plus has or have plus V3, verb past participle has to be used. Like if you are asking a question in present perfect, that how long have you been here, आप कितना देर से यहाँ हैं. मान लीजिए आप किसी क्वेश्चन किए कि how long have you been here, that person will also answer this question in present perfect, that I have been here for half an hour. What have you been doing since then? I have been waiting for the manager of the company. What have you been doing with this company? Well, I have been licensing with this company for last 2 years. I am working as a licensing officer. So all these sentences, which are present perfect and present perfect continuous, are integrated. So in present perfect, question is very, interesting. Like, has he really finished his task? Yeah, he has finished his task just now. No, he has not yet finished the task. Has the government taken the decision about this principle? No, the government has yet not taken the decision. It is thinking of taking a decision. So in present perfect also. That is why it is very important that speaking is a productive skill which requires everyday practice. If you are speaking one day and the second day you are not speaking, initiate conversation with your friends, relatives, your children, whoever is with you. Interacting and initiating conversation will help you enhance your habit of speaking, and it will enhance your vocabulary, you will enhance your enunciation. A particular word, see, many a time it happens now, the people start pronouncing the word deteriorate and deteriorating. You see how nice this the condition of the patient is deteriorating day by day, becoming worse day by day. So the word deterioration is a beautiful word. So when you are using this, and now opposite of deterioration, improving. The condition of the patient is improving day by day. So that is here when you use these, I mean, antonyms and synonyms, you make a practice of this. And so there are three important skills of learning. Though there are four skills of learning a language, but we give more importance to these three core skills. That receptive skill is listening for understanding, comprehension. When you are being given a passage in the exam, whether you are sitting for a staff selection commission or any other CTS or any other competitive exam, two big passages are given, 600 words, and that is a very, I mean, compact and comprehensive passage. So you have to go through different paragraphs of that passage, understanding the passage. So listening for understanding, reading for understanding, they are known as receptive skill. Then come to the productive skills, speaking and writing. These are output of learning a language, and that is what I want to sum up with. This is Eddie Singh on the channel Is English by Eddie Singh, your own channel. Thank you. Have a nice morning.